Dedicated to filling the global knowledge gap about Africa, Elias wondimu holds several leadership positions in both educational and political arenas. An advisor of the Ethiopian Diaspora Trust Fund, a senior fellow of the International Strategic Studies Association, founding editor of the International Journal of Ethiopian Studies, and a contributing editor of the Los Angeles Review of Books, among several other roles. Elias has several awards and accolades and has also appeared on national and international media outlets like NPR, BBC, ETV, the LA Times, and more. Elias wondimu is an Ethiopian activist, journalist, publisher, and founder of the knowledge production company Tsahai Publishers. Brought up in Addis Ababa, Elias once aspired to become a surgeon. However, moved by the injustices he saw in his home country, he instead began work as a journalist, activist, and political advocate through his work at a weekly newspaper called Moged. While at the 12th International Ethiopian Studies Conference at Michigan State University in 1994, Elias began his life in exile in the United States. During the next 24 years of exile, Elias worked tirelessly towards promoting justice and challenging ignorance and misinformation through a variety of pursuits in journalism, publishing, and social entrepreneurship. In 2018, Elias was referenced in Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed's speech at the Galen Center in Los Angeles, California, as one of Ethiopia's heroic sons for his work and establishment of Tsahai Publishers, and was later invited to return to his home country. Since then, Elias has indeed returned and began a number of collaborative projects with the Ethiopian government, including the National Archives and Library Agency of Ethiopia, the new Unity Park in the Grand Palace, and a number of universities throughout the country. Elias began his work in the diaspora in the United States first in a journalistic capacity after being offered a position at the Ethiopian Review in LA in 1994. He served as managing editor for 6 years, where he worked with scholars, political activists, and public intellectuals on issues of local and global interest. In this role, he was able to facilitate interviews with Ethiopian opposition leaders who had been imprisoned. During this period in 1997, he joined Penn Center USA, serving as a member, advocate, and an executive board member. He also advised and collaborated with other organizations to advocate and to financially support imprisoned journalists and their struggling families. Later, Elias continued his journalistic pursuits of truth and just reporting through the African Tribune, of which he served as editor-in-chief from 2004 to 2008, alongside Alamu Hailu, the former editor of the Ethiopian Herald newspaper, as its feature editor, Chris Abani as its book review editor, and a Pulitzer-winning journalist, George White, as its editorial advisor. In 1997, Elias began his career as a book publisher with the founding of Tsahai Publishers, and so named in honor of his mother, Tsahai, who passed away in Ethiopia that same year. Having found a void in the American book market for African books, especially those written by Africans, he initially began reprinting old texts or rare books with the intention of confronting the ignorance spread by the commonly available sources. During a brief time working as an assistant editor on UCLA's Chicano Studies academic journal, he was inspired to establish 2 academic journals with an Ethiopian focus through Tsahai: the International Journal of Ethiopian Studies, IJES, in 2002, and later he established the Ethiopian Journal of Religious Studies, EGRS, in 2013. In 2002, Elias launched Tsahai's first specialized imprint, the African Academic Press, to help fulfill the dire need for African American voices to be printed and heard, as Heinemann ceased publishing its African Writer series. Elias relocated Tsahai Publishers to Loyola Marymount University in 2007 and established the Marymount Institute Press in conjunction with Teresa DeVroom and the Marymount Institute for Faith, Culture, and the Arts. Since then, Elias has launched Charaka Books for children's literature, Fanos Books for self-sponsored books, and the Harriet Tubman Press with the aim to celebrate Black voices in the academic and literary world by showcasing the strength, tenacity, and perseverance of the African American experience in the hopes of empowering the next generation of leaders and thinkers. So much more. Seed salutes Elias wondimu.